Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be testing and reviewing the Tarte and Aspyn Ovard collection. So if you want to see what this product is and how it works, then just keep watching. Okay, so we're going to test this out. It is a palette from Tarte Cosmetics in collaboration with Aspyn Ovard, and it is sold at Ulta only. I believe it might be sold on Tarte's website as well, but as far as in store, I think it's Ulta only. And it retails for $39, and it's an eye and cheek palette. So this is what the palette itself looks like. It's very reflective. A lot of people are saying this is a mirror, but it's not. It's just reflective, but you can use it as one, but you'll be pink. And then when you open it up, it has a nice big mirror, and then here are these shades. It has 9 eyeshadows, a cheek palette or a blush, and then a highlighter. So I've already done my face except blush and highlighter so that we could use this, and I have been using this probably 3 or 4 times now, so I do know how it works and I have my thoughts already. But let's go into the blush. The blush is called You Made Me Blush, and it's just like a nice, I would say for my skin color, it's like an everyday blush, it's a true blush for my skin tone. So I'm gonna put that on. I hate blush. Ah! I will say for a blush, it's not too pigmented, but it's also not pigmented. So for me, that's a good blend because I don't like blush that often, just because I spend so much time hiding my redness underneath that then it irritates me to bring redness, you know, or form a redness on top. But when I do put blush on, I like it to be subtle, and that's what this does for me. Alright, so then we will use the highlighter, which the highlighter is called Pure Soul. So this highlighter is like a light gold champagne shade, but mostly on the gold side. But it is very light, so if you have medium skin, this might give you a gray cast. I mean medium and darker. I never finish my sentences. Has anyone noticed that? For my skin tone, it is giving me a slight gray cast, but not where it's unbearable. It is not a blinding highlight. Now, when I think of Aspyn, I do think, let me rephrase this. When I think of Aspyn as far as makeup, I do think basic makeup. She wears like makeup that makes her just, you know, look natural, like she's not wearing much makeup. So this kind of highlighter suits her image, like of my image of her. So this isn't very blinding, but you can get it to be blinding if that's something that you want. So you can just get some on your brush and then wet it, and it will help to make it, oh, I almost dropped it, more blinding. The only problem with that for me is then that gray cast really shows up, but it's okay, we'll go with it. It's okay. Alright, so for this palette, it is a lot of neutrals, which I'm not mad about because as an everyday life, that's what I gravitate towards. Actually, as an everyday life, I rarely do much makeup. I do my face, but it's really rare that I do anything with my eyes. But since I've gotten this palette, for work purposes, when I don't really want to put much on, I actually will take this very top shade, which is called High School Sweetheart. It's just like a really light blush color, and I'll just put that all over my lid, and it makes it look like I tried. So we're gonna go, and I'm going to try to use as many of the shades as I can. Alright, we're gonna go in with Married Life, which is just a bone shade, and I'm gonna use that to set my concealer because I know it's been going around a new trend of doing it when your concealer is wet, but I'm not ready for that trend, so I'm not gonna do that. Alright, so then next I'm gonna go with the shade above it, which is Santorini Sands, and it's basically for, I would say for medium skin, it's probably your bone shade, but for me, it's just slightly darker, and it's just, you can honestly skip this part, but like I said, I want to try to use as many of them as possible. So this is just going to start my transition so that the rest blend better. By the way, it smells like chocolate. I forgot to mention that. Okay. So we're just basically using the shade to just start a transition. And then I'm going to go in, like I said, I'm going to use as many of them as I can. So I'm going to go in with High School Sweetheart, which is that light blush shade I was talking about. Same brush. This is my Morphe M504. I basically use this brush every time I do makeup, and I use it for my beginning shades because they're so blown out. I don't need them to be precise, so I like this fluffy brush. Okay, so now I will go in with a smaller brush, and then I'm going to take the shade Tea Time, which is down here, and it is just a warm brown. It's a lot of the times it's a shade that I would typically start with, but because we have these lighter ones, we're not. And then I'm going to put that in the crease, same thing I did with the other ones, but this one I'm going to do slightly lower. And if you need help with blending, an easier trick is to angle your brush down when you're not wanting it to go higher. Like when I do those first shades, I really don't care because they're blown out, so I just kind of go in straight. But with shades like this where I want it lower, I angle my brush down so that it's not getting up here. So then I'm going to go back in with my first brush that doesn't have any extra product on it and just use it to blend further the colors together. I'm going to use that Tea Time shade, and I'm going to use it on a flat brush instead. And then I'm actually just going to pack it on the outer part of my lid because I actually want this to be like deeper on the outside. So I'm going to pack it about halfway. And I'm going to go back in with the fluffy brush, no extra product, and just blend it together so that the edges aren't harsh. I have on multiple occasions done the Heart of Gold shade, which is in the middle, and I think I actually have a picture of it. I do have a picture of it, so I will insert the picture here so that you can see what that lid shade looks like on top. It is very bronzy with like a hint of glitter gold on it. I have never touched Wanderlust yet. I'm just not really into deep brown shades that have glitter. So the next I'm going to go with Road Trip, which is the deep brown shade in the palette that is matte. And I'm going to use that to darken up the edges. And I'm going to use my MAC 217 brush. And I'm literally just keeping this to the outer edge because I just want to deepen, but I want to keep my eyes open for this look, so I'm just deepening the edge, literally just the outer part of this. And then I'm going to go back in with my big fluffy brush with nothing on it and blend it out. Literally the key for me for good makeup is to just consistently go back in with a fluffy brush and blend the colors. Alright, so now for the lid shade, I am going to take Endless Summer, which is, I would say out of the palette, is a medium gold, because you have the lightest gold here, then you have medium, and then the darkest version of a gold. Obviously, like I said, that middle one is more bronzy, but it is gold too. So I'm going to take Endless Summer. I have used this shade a couple of times as well, so I do know I hate it dry. Let me just show you. It's barely there. It does not show up very much. So this is one that I always wet. Now I'm going to do a cut crease without actually cutting my crease, so it's like a soft cut crease. I don't know what you would call it, but I'm basically, instead of using concealer and whatnot to carve out my eye, I just use my wet eyeshadow instead, and it normally works, but it's a soft version. I like this so much better when it's wet. It's so pretty. But do you see how you can still cut your crease with having your eyeshadow wet rather than having to carve out? Now you can also carve out and your eyeshadow would most likely be more intense, but I like this look, so I don't go the extra mile. So now I'm going to go back in with the Tea Time shade, which is the second to last transition shade, or the last transition shade I did. And we're just going to use a fluffy brush and softly blend the colors together. So when I do this, I tend to go back and forth with the brown shade and then the gold shade, just not wet. Could have just said dry, huh? And then I just consistently go back until they blend. So let's do the bottom real quick. So the bottom, I'm just going to kind of do the opposite. So I'm going to take Road Trip, which is the deep brown, and I'm going to put that right on the lower lash line. But because I'm wanting to keep my eyes open, I'm only keeping it on the outer edge. Oh, I'm using a Morphe M432 if you'd like to know. If you want me to start like listing my brushes, or at least listing them down below, let me know. Then I'm going to go in with a mixture of the Tea Time and High School Sweetheart. And I'm just going to buff them together and to buff out that Road Trip shade. Alright, so then I'm going to go in with the shade Brilliance. Whoa. Which is the lightest shimmer shade, and I'm going to put that on my crease with a Crown C5 1/3 brush, and I'm going to put that on the inner corner. I'm going to put that on my brow bone, dry. Oh, I just realized I don't have any eyebrows on, so I'll put this on my eyebrow. And then I'm actually going to wet this shade. The shade Brilliance has a slight pink tint to it, but it's mostly gold. So I'm going to use that wet and put that on the inner corner because I just want it to pop more than it was. And especially when it's next to this gold, you can see the pink tint to it. And didn't realize it was that pink. So I'm actually going to grab something not in the palette. Oh, no. Let's try the highlighter. We're going to put the highlighter, the Pure Soul. There we go. Yeah, that works. Alright. I'm going to go ahead, finish my brows, finish my lashes off camera, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead, did my brows, put some mascara on and stuff, which this is the Bad Gal Bang mascara if you were curious. Anyway, so my final thoughts about this palette is it's actually a really good palette. Tarte has really good eyeshadows. They blend really nicely. They're very pigmented. The shimmer shadows definitely, in my opinion, should be used wet, not dry, unless you want really subtle, but I feel like if you're going for that color, you're wanting something that's not subtle, so I would definitely use it wet. Other than that, I think it's a really good palette. I know it's been sold out for a while. I don't know if it's back yet, but if you can find it, I would definitely grab it, especially if you're a neutral person, which I feel like the majority of us are. So if you do like neutrals, or just even need a palette that has your basics and your necessities for every eyeshadow, I feel like the transition shades in this are really nice. Long story short, I really think this is a great palette. I definitely would pick it up if you could find it. But yeah, that's all I have for this video, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one.